happens sometimes. Mercury is in retrograde.
We are now live.
We're officially live.
We have done it. Oh my goodness.
Well, thank goodness for not having Mercury in retrograde tonight.
Night. Hey everyone. Welcome.
Welcome to Bedtime.
I'm not in your face.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Welcome people to the Bedtime Stories. Hope everyone out there is good this evening.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
How you doing, Sin?
Hi. I'm trying to do too much while I'm sitting here.
I'm doing the same things. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Red, and
I'm Sin Rose. How are you?
And together we do bedtime stories, and we're very excited about our special guest this evening, Mr. Carlos Mena and DJ True, who may or may not be my good friend.
You're what, friend?
Say hello to the people, guys.
Hello, everybody.
Yo, what up? What's good?
Well,
getting airtime.
It's that time. We're here. We've got folks here already joining us. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to Carlos Mena and DJ True for being here. We're excited to have you. So we both know who you are, and the way that we usually start this, as I've already told you, is that we want to know for our guests that have joined us here in the live, tell us who you are and why you think we invited you to tell a bedtime story tonight. Why do you think? Whoever wants to go first can go.
Hey, True.
Camera's on you. All right, I guess I'll go.
Don't be shy now, boys.
How do I know that I'm on? You can see me now? Am I the censor now?
You are.
Oh, okay. So just go ahead.
See how you see yourself?
Yeah.
That's how the people see you.
All right.
When you speak, it switches over to you automatically.
Yes, I'm DJ True. I'm totally honored to be here. First of all, I've seen all your guests, and it's like this lineup of historians of music, and to be a part of that, I feel really honored. Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Okay, good.
Look, True, if anything goes wrong, we're gonna let you know.
No, I know sometimes come out a little bit low. I don't want to be one of those people, low talkers and whatnot. So, but why did you invite me? Oh, I appreciate the fact that you put me down as a dancer as well as a DJ.
And we're gonna get back to that because I got a comment about that I want to share with you.
Okay, for years I was just dancing all up and down the New York club scene, and that's everything. That's reggae, that's house, that's hip hop, and I was lucky enough to be around at the right time and just see all these scenes evolve. And I definitely have a unique perspective on it because I'm a loner, and that kept me I feel like when you're a loner, you observe a lot more. You know what I'm saying? You don't have your crew to distract you. You don't have all these different things to distract you. You just got, your solo perspective on things. It's unbiased. So yeah, I'm here to share that with y'all.
I like it. I like it. And I never really thought about the loner part, but that makes perfect sense. And
I definitely have seen you over the years at many different variety of as you're one of those. There are a few people that I think fall into the category of you, right? Where it's I'm likely to see this person anywhere, right? And you're definitely one of those people. I could run into you anywhere. I could be, anywhere.
You're always one of those people.
Oh, hey.
I feel like before I let Carlos go, I feel like I got to get to know you better, Sam, because you're always one of those people that I would see all over the place. And I was like, there she is again. But I totally didn't know you from Adam, and we never kicked it or anything. So
yeah, it's good. It's good.
Certainly.
we'll have a chance to. I think, this is a start.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, that's wonderful.
Carlos.
Yes.
Carlos.
Carlos Mena.
Carlos Mena.
I'm a
Who are you?
husband, father, father of 2 young boys. Grew up here in Brooklyn. Moved to California for 24 years. Came back actually went to Florida for a couple years, Miami, South Beach, and then came back here about 6 years ago, maybe 6. And I'm a music producer, DJ, MC, and been involved in music for a long time. And I'm guessing you guys have me here because I'm somewhat involved in the house scene, and I'm honored to be here with you guys. I love the show. As you guys know, I'm on checking it out every week, so I'm excited to be on.
Thank you for both of you for like your kind words about this program. That inspires me, like for real. You have no idea, because this really came out of like the whim of our minds. Was like, Red and I were on a Zoom call one day because we would randomly do that, and we were just like, so what would be cool to do is, and here we are. And so thank you. Yeah, that's dope. So Red, do you have some questions you want to start with?
Actually, I do.
Okay.
I have a question for you, True, because you had on the flyer put down Trinity Black. What is Trinity Black?
Trinity Black. Yes. That's a movement that my man Danny Native is starting. He's from a crew. Well, he always produced under Altered Natives. If you're not up on Altered Natives,
I know Altered Natives, probably from you.
Okay. Yeah. And he originally was with Goya Distribution, which I was always a big fan of. I know Carlos is up on Goya. And yeah, he has this whole idea of like bringing together a group of people that's going to advocate and really, try to, the way he puts it, he's all about reappropriating stolen and appropriated culture. Like he made this shirt right here, which is the techno nursemaid, which is awesome. I think it speaks for itself.
Right.
And on the back, he has written in German, "White Boy Black Music Club." So, I mean, I don't think I need to explain all that. It's just, he's all about like, the idea that this is, Black culture, this is gay culture, this is culture of people of color, and it's dominated and it's been taken over by white people, straight up. And he ain't going for their throats. He's just going to help them like diversify their rosters within labels, within festivals. And he's got like a whole, go to trinity-black.com, see what the whole collective is. I mean, we just signed up Charlie Dark. I was a big fan of his from Attica Blues. Well, he's being an ambassador for us. And we got a lot of exciting people that are involved in this. And we look to change this up, man. We look to make this, we want to see people of color dancing again, dancing to techno. We want to see festivals that, are highlighting the pioneers, all of this, and be treated as fairly and just as well as these folks that have been appropriating the culture. You know what I'm saying?
I love the idea of that, firstly, because I think that it's important for us to nurture and to really spend some time in developing what we want as the future of this to look like, and I don't think that any of us were around to create this, right? So we have to be the ones to continue it, though, for the younger people to then have something and a strong foundation, right? For it to continue to last. So
yeah,
not just a token artist here and there.
And yeah, I was gonna say, and also because what it sounds like also is that he wants to not just continue the sounds or the music or the dance or whatever, but the history. And that's where, know where it came from. Go ahead, do it, but know where it came from and acknowledge that.
Right. Or at least,
Yeah.
have a good representation or make it, like not just represent it, but just maybe also include and, give homage to those people that really, open it up for those people that want to explore that also. Like, I think that that's one of the things that exists, right, in that festival culture and stuff, is that there's like a lot of, you'll see a lot of different people represented, but more so it's not the people that would have pioneered those things.
Yep.
Right? So yeah, that's dope.
And now I'm see. I know a couple of people talked about young people dancing. We definitely need to get young people dancing again. And I know there's funk box and there's one or two parties that have the young folks coming to it, but it's a whole different feeling in my opinion. But I'm going to go into that. I want Carlos to get some airtime too. I'm sure we'll have time to talk about where the scene is at right now and where the dance is at and stuff like that. So I'll hold that.
Well, on that note, let's just ask Carlos now. Carlos, what do you think about all of that and the younger generation?
I think the younger generation is dancing. We're just not, we're older. We're a different crowd. We're not involved in what they're doing. It's that simple. The kids are out there dancing. They might not be dancing to Louis Vega records, but they're dancing to other stuff, more popular, younger music. It's just a different time.
Right. But what do you think in terms of like that, right? So you don't want the music that you have, that you love, that you produce to die. So how do you connect to that younger crowd to make the stuff that they're listening to something that you're producing?
Yeah, I mean, personally, for myself and for the label, we're trying to push a little bit, right? I do stuff that involves rapping. I do things that are more techy. We've been signing a whole bunch more like techno-y kind of records that have a younger club vibe, not so much like soulful and Afro. And we're looking for different avenues to get the music out. We just had a marketing meeting earlier today to talk about different areas to take the music other than the standard places that we're promoting to get to a wider audience. Like, we're not trying to be a house label. We're trying to be, a music label, put out good music and get it to the people so they can hear it. Hopefully some kids will come along, but kids are into what they're going to be into. If kids are into trap, they're going to listen to trap. You can't force them to listen to house music.
So I'm curious though about that too, because like I feel like there's a way for us to be able to create a vibe that is so dynamic that people of all ages really want to feel it, right? Because that is, for me, one of the things that like drew me to this being a part of my life is, right, like, is the feeling that I got when I was in this environment, and the safety and the community and the freedom and all of that stuff, right? So my question actually, I think, to both of you then is like, what do you think it is that will allow us to get that feeling across? Because that feeling can come from, it doesn't have to necessarily be from a soulful house scene. It doesn't have to be from a techno scene. It doesn't have to be, but what it is that feeling of like freedom. And so what do you think it is that would allow us to what do we need to do to get that to the younger generation?
Well,
you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
Well, I think it speaks to the importance of, the whole Trinity Black movement, where, I feel it's all exposure. At the end of the day, I don't believe that, kids are going to be into what they're into. I think they're very conditioned to listen to a very certain kind of sound that's right now. And I think if they had a lot more choices, and people that, the kids that go outside of what's just being spoon fed to them, they find all type of different things, you know. So I think if kids had an opportunity to hear a lot more of the sounds that are out there, you know, because I play all the time to kids just in the neighborhood, and they're forever asking me, what are you playing? What's that? You know, they don't even associate it to techno or house, even though I'm playing techno or house, because a lot of them, they haven't even heard like real Black and music from people of color, which there is a difference. You know,
Right.
when we hear Ocha, when you hear Carlos Mena's, I play his tracks on the block, man. The Africans go off, the Jamaicans go off, you know, it's a
Right.
different vibe than what they're playing at festivals and that really hard techie sound. You know, it has a lot more soul to it. And I feel like kids aren't exposed to it. I got two young 20-somethings living, you know, that are my tenants downstairs. They're house heads now, you know, just because of what I've exposed them to, you know? And I think it's all about exposure. And that's what part of what, you know, why we're trying to be cultural diversity consultants and try to open it up more to, you know, Black and brown and gay sounds, you know, because that is the core, that is the base. That's where it all came from, you know, and a lot of it needs to be taken back, in my opinion. And there needs to be a lot more dancing. Tell me where the dancing is, Carlos. I'm a dancer, I'm still dancing. Show me where it's at. I'll be up in there.
The biggest challenge is that people are sheep. So, you know, you could, you know, if you were in a high school right now and playing house music for the kids in the school, you might be able to peel off one or two of the independent thinkers, the free spirits that are going to gravitate to the music. But for the most part, those kids in that school are going to want to listen to what the other kids in the school are listening to, because their number one priority is to be popular, to be accepted by everybody else. And so if they listen to Hot 97 and half the kids are like, yo, that's the hot song, then all the kids are going to say that's the hot song, whether it's hot or not.
Right. That's why they can't be the only ones controlling the narrative. That's why cats like you need to be in on that narrative. And, you know, and it is control, you know.
And I think that there's a way also that you can like incorporate the things that they want to hear. And because I've been to some really hard, like one of the ways that I got to like techno music was because of my ability to hear some of the DJs that would play. They were playing hard tech, you know, and then all of a sudden I would hear some stuff that I would recognize from the soulful or the deep house scene or, you know, something else. And that allowed me to appreciate the, you know, the sound of techno a little bit more, because then I was, you know, I heard some familiarities. I think that, so that is also something that we could do.
No,
right?
I agree. And when I play, or even when I produce tracks, I make a lot of like custom edits just so I can play in the clubs when I'm playing. And I'll you know, I have edits that are Biggie tracks mixed with house music. I have just like different rappers, different pop songs, like that'll appeal to a young crowd. I think for us, for me personally, I'm trying to find music that bridges the gap. Like there's producers out there that are doing hip hop, pop music that have a house vibe to it, and that's what's popular right now.
Yes.
And you
Like
know, when you
what
find
Kanye West did with freaking Barbara Tucker in it, right?
yeah, a Catriendo, or all these different producers that are making music that are popular with young kids that have house influences in them. Those are the songs that we need to be playing to attract that crowd. So when we put out a mix and you get it to someone, they hear songs that they're familiar with or are more popular with them, other than, you know, yes, you want to educate folks on Little Lewis and all these other great producers and great tracks that we know about as classics, but that's not going to attract a younger crowd. You know, that's going to get you one or two people. The young people are listening to the radio. And so you have to create something that's relatable, that's going to attract them to what you're doing. It's just facts. Yeah. We're older, we're in a different generation, we're listening to different music, younger people are listening to different music. We're never going to get that crowd to come and listen to what we're doing. Maybe once in a while when we have an event that features one of the artists that they like and they come out and it's different culture and different generations. It's hard.
Yeah,
You know,
I
you
think
said
that
something
both of-
interesting, Carlos, and I agree and disagree a little bit about, like, if you went to a school and you played our music for these kids, if there was a gymnasium, you know, full of kids and they could dance while this was happening, you know, there's always that group in, and we all probably have them in school with us as well, where they can dance. There's always that group of kids that whatever you put on, they're doing whatever dance that they do right now.
Yeah.
But that's the same kind of group in my mind that would be like, yo, what is that? What are you guys playing? What does that mean?
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
the whole group as a group would then, if you invited them and said, hey, you can come do this, and I'm inviting you, I'm welcoming you, I believe that they would come. And then
Absolutely.
they would come to the party, and because they can dance, they become the new circle kids.
I agree.
The new, you know, so I think there's a way.
Yeah, I agree with
It's
that.
just a matter of reaching them.
For Redness, you're talking about 10 kids. I'm talking about the other 200 kids that are asking for Cardi B.
But
You
look,
see what I'm saying?
they can ask for
Put
parties.
on Mr.
Everybody,
B's remix.
there's somebody for everybody. That's 10 kids from that school. There's schools all over. Then there's the after school kids, and then there's this. So you put that all together, and you've got a whole new set of followers and people. Young people.
Exactly.
And once those
And
kids
remember, those
know
kids are the
something
ones you
that's
saw
dope.
walking. Go ahead, son.
No, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, and once those kids know something that's dope, then the other kids are gonna be like, "Oh, that's cool."
Or when they
That's
see
what
them
they're
going
talking
places,
about.
where you guys going? Where are you guys going every weekend? Yo, we going to this dope party. I want to know about that party. Can I go? And now you got, you know, the same way it happened with us.
So how are we reaching those high school kids? We're not in the school. We're not hanging out with them. That's
Actually,
not
some
that's
things
not
are
us.
in the school. I know a couple of people that are teaching dance in the school. They're teaching
Can
music.
I
in the
take that
school.
question too?
Yeah, and teaching music in the school, and because they become the music directors or the music this or that, they're allowed to choose what the kids are subjected or, you know, get to hear. And so, yeah, I mean, there's ways to do it. There are ways to do it.
And I was gonna say that those kids, they're gonna always seek it out. You know, they're gonna get bored with that whole, you know, you guys gotta look up Max Martin. Like there's this Swedish guy that like took all these like, Carlos, you know who Max Martin is?
No.
Everybody's Max. Like there's this sound that took over pop music. It drives me crazy. I can't stand it. It's in everything from Backstreet Boys to Britney Spears to. It's a very specific sound, and it came from these Swedish producers, Dennis Pop and Max Martin. And you guys got to look these two up because it'll give you insight on what's going on in the music industry. There's also, you know, the secret, you know, meeting tapes that's floating around the internet too. And there really is conspiracy in the music business. Don't sleep on it. It's really all there. But the whole Swedish Max Martin sound is something that like he made it into a formula. And that's what Swedes do. They make everything into a formula. And he took all these urban like sounds and made it into this formula that we got stuck on. And everything is based on it. And everything comes full circle. So people are gonna get tired of it and people are gonna start seeking underground sounds again. And yeah, we just gotta be ready to be able to, and that's why this is so important. So they can find out what the true history of this is, rather than thinking it came from, you know, all these new kids that are, you know, taking over the culture, if you know what I'm saying. Shouts out to Mr. V that did the Cardi B remix that I play to death and the kids love out here. Mr. V dropped this Cardi B remix, and your Carlos Mena, you be dropping those remixes too. It makes a difference. It really does. Dropping those songs that they familiar with.
It does, and I got to tell you, Carlos, one of the things I wrote down on my things to ask Carlos was, all I put was the word tech, not techno, techie, because I was listening to some of your music, and I'm like, this isn't just straight Afro house. This isn't just whatever. Some of it I heard myself was techie, and I was going to ask you about that. So I'm glad that you brought it up and explained it yourself, because I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, when you say my music, you mean on the label or my music?
Your music.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I make music. Whatever happens.
It's
But
good not to stay in a bubble. You know,
yeah.
It matters.
Thank you.
Well, techno is black music. We know this. You know, shouts out to
But I'm not saying techno.
homies.
I'm not saying techno. I'm saying techie, which is in my mind different.
Well,
But
they get really
we won't get
techie. That's
into
what I'm saying.
We will not get into that.
That's what I'm saying. They get really techie. That's all I'm saying.
But I have a question for both of you. Well, actually, you're gonna answer this, and it's gonna lead to something from Carlos. So you mentioned earlier, True, that you may know Carlos from someplace he doesn't even know that you know him from. Can we hear about that?
Well, I'll have to tell some of Carlos's history. And for those that don't know, Carlos, way back in the days, was down with a crew called Arrested Development. And Speech is the homie, man. I went to church with Speech. He knows my sister. He knows my nephew. I don't know if he knows we're all related, but he knows pretty much my whole family. So that's the connection to Carlos that you probably didn't know. Yeah, Speech is my homie. I don't know if he still remembers me. It's been over 20 years or something, but
he just texted me yesterday. That's funny.
Yeah, he's still doing it. That's what's up. I'm like proud of him every time I see him still doing it. That's what's up.
Very cool. I know True from when I started coming around to. I've been DJing since 1986. That's when I first started playing in clubs, and I moved to California in '89. And I think over the first few years, I was doing a lot of hip hop, producing hip hop for different people out in California. And then I started getting back into house because I was producing an album around Orisha music involving different artists that were involved with Orisha. So I was trying to get Be Real, who's Cuban and involved in the tradition. I was trying to get with Vinia Mojica from De La Soul and Mos Def, etc. So I connected with her. And then I kept searching for other people. I got with Trey Hardson from the Far Side, who's a priest of Yemaya. And then I started searching. I found this guy named Oshunlade. I was like, who's this guy? And I listened to an interview he did on some station in LA. It was streaming on their website. I was like, oh, this dude sounds dope. And I heard some of his music. Oh, this is dope. You know, when I grew up DJing back in the mid to late 80s, we played everything, right? There wasn't like, oh, you're a house DJ or you're a hip hop DJ. I would play at this after hours and play salsa, merengue, house, Madonna, Prince, whatever. And so I wasn't like thinking about genres, but then I connected with Oshunlade. I told him about the project. I said, can you come to California so we can record? And I said, I don't have a lot of budget. How can we do this? And I said, oh, you know what? I bet I know what I can do. I can get you a gig. I'll promote a party. I didn't know what I was doing. I said, I'll promote. I was kind of starting promoting parties, but it was just like, 100 people, 200 people. And I was like, I'm gonna throw a house party. You're gonna be the guest DJ, and you're gonna come. You can stay at my house. We didn't have money for a hotel, none of that. So he came. I'm trying to remember what he came like straight from South Korea or something, and he came, stayed at my house. He made like 4 songs. He's probably one of the most prolific producers in terms of the amount of music he makes. Like I watched him sit at my kitchen table and he made 3 or 4 incredible songs, some of which are probably some of the classics we danced to. And I got him on the project, and then he said, you should come to Miami. I was like, what's in Miami? He's like, oh, music conference, Winter Music Conference. I'm like, yeah. He said, yeah, house music. I'm like, ugh, no, I'm good. I was like, I'm like, I'm good. He goes, nah, it's not like that, bro. Come. So I came, and this is when conference was popping, right? That there would be like 6, 7 dope parties in one night. Like you had, Louis, you had Oshunlade, you had Dennis Ferrer, like different parties all at the same time every night. Now it's like you're lucky if there's one good party, you know, during the conference. So I was following him around to all these parties, and I was like, oh, people know you. Okay, cool. Like we were going everywhere and getting in, and met Kenny, met Louis, met everybody. And he got me, and I was like, I like this music. This is cool. This is like not. So he got me into the music, and I started, you know, playing more of it. And I don't remember how I got booked to play at the Alma party, but I had been coming to New York and playing different parties. Like I remember playing for Ian Friday and Sabine at their party that they were doing, and I played a couple of parties. But I remember the Alma party at Sullivan Room, and that's when I met True, and who, by the way, is an amazing DJ. I remember him playing like some amazing records, and I was like, oh, this is dope. But that's how we connected. It was many years ago in Sullivan Room. Was it Sullivan Room?
It was.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was definitely the Sullivan Room, and I got this crazy ass demo of yours where you were rapping even in Portuguese, and I was like, "Who the hell is this?" And that's what set off. Like, I need this cat at my party.
Right on. Yeah. Sullivan Room was fun because I played also like Ian Friday's party there, Libation, and played Funk Box several times, a bunch of parties. I missed that place. It was a cool spot.
We all do.
What do you think was like the turning point for you in terms of like you going to like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was gonna be, to, oh, I like house music. I love it.
Yeah, it was really conference. I went to all these soulful parties that were Afro and soulful, and I just loved the music. And I was at, you know, Shunade was playing 2-3 times a night, every night at different parties. So I was hearing what he was playing. I was hearing what everybody else was playing. Like, I love this music. This is beautiful. And that's when I sat down with him. I said, we should start a label. Because he had Yoruba Records. I said, we should start a label that's not house, that caters to this kind of Afro soulful vibe, but not house. And we start Orchard Records. And so we started Orchard Records, but it just so happened that everything we were signing and putting out had the house vibe to it. And, you know, and I'm still trying, and we're looking at other things that we want to release that are not house, because we don't want this to be just a house label. So that's how it all started way back when.
I want to know the answer to that same question for you, True. What was it that made you like be like, but this is my shit. I'm a club head. I'm going out. I'm dancing everywhere. I'm whatever. now I'm DJing. Now I'm damn it. I need this. This is my life. What was that?
All right, I'll try to keep this short. First of all, I want to say thank you to Carlos for calling me a dope DJ. I feel like if I could be unknown, nobody needs to know who I am, as long as dope motherfuckers like him think I'm dope. I did something right. So thank you for that compliment. But oh man, I was a hip hop head for sure. I was definitely a graffiti writer, break dancer, boogier, everything that came with hip hop. And one day I was invited to the garage, and I don't think I need to explain further, but I'll explain a little bit further. I came from a spot where everybody had to be cool. Everybody kept their composure. You asked girls to dance. The first time I went to the garage, while I was online, a song came on and the person behind me flipped their wig. I thought he was catching the Holy Ghost. Like, again, I'm coming from a place where, you know, you cool. You know, he lost his cool to a song. And I was like, what the hell? That already threw me off. I went inside. I was inside for 5 minutes before a girl grabbed me by the hand and dragged me out to the dance floor. That's when I knew, okay, this is a very different place than what I'm used to. Yeah, and then the sound system. It's funny because house wasn't that foreign to me. I'm man, when it comes to my history of music digging, I was definitely, I had my ear to the ground. I still like to believe I still keep my ear to the ground. And again, I was born at a very special time where all these sounds were just evolving. So I got to see them evolve firsthand, you know, at the clubs where they evolved. And that also has to do with me getting there late, because some people used to bag on me like, oh, I didn't get to check out the real garage because I didn't get there until, you know, 85, 86, 87, or I didn't get the real loft because I didn't go to 99 Prince. But those all hold very unique experiences. Like when I got to like the garage, that's when electronic house just started hitting, you know? And that's a very different thing. When I got to the loft, I remember the loft started, when I got to the loft, it started emptying out more and more every week. The old school heads, the 99 Prince, this is something they never talk about. So I need to drop this. They were not into house music like that. They weren't digging it. They wanted to hear the classics. They wanted to hear the real like band shit. And once he put on that electronic shit, he used to clear the dance floor lots of times. And cats didn't even come back. It was to the point where there was a handful of, when before the last garage closed, I mean the last loft closed on 3rd Street, there was a handful of hardcores. I could even name all of them if I tried. I'm serious, because I remember all of them. And Douglas, who is the DJ of now, the resident of the Loft Party now, Douglas Sherman. That's when I met Douglas Sherman there, and he was one of that last. I mean, it used to rain in there. There was leaks in the roof. There was cracks in the dance floor that if you could fall in a hole and hurt yourself type deal. The equipment started disappearing week by week until we were down to like one stack of speakers, and there was one hardcore crew. And let me tell you, the same reason that those people did not come back to the club was the reason we were there. Yo, David was on some shit. He was high as fuck, and he was playing whatever he wanted. And it was the first time I heard like stuff like Charlie Parker on a system like that. Just, you know, my favorite things, shit like that I never heard like in a club. And it was just a whole nother place that a lot of lofters ain't get. I'm calling y'all out. Y'all ain't get it. Y'all were bagging on David.
That's funny. I want to make one correction, I guess, because I don't want people to think that I got into house music when I went to WMC. Back in the mid 80s, what really got me hooked was this one moment. I think it was 88. I went to a spot that somebody had me a flyer, and I went to this spot, and it was like what people describe. You know, they describe parties where the sweat is dripping from the walls, and people dance until, you know, noon, and you go outside and you're like a vampire. You're like, I had that experience. I went to this spot, and I just stood there and watched this DJ play and watched this crowd just going off for I don't know how many hours. And there was a bowl with ice water and bananas on the bar. Nobody was drinking alcohol. It was just a party that was out of control. And it was a party called Baseline. Mm. And I always remember that. And I've always been chasing that feeling. When I promote parties and put on parties, I want people to have that feeling that I had, which is, you know, lost in the music and this communal feeling that everybody's vibing to these amazing songs and feeling the bass, like feeling it and having it vibrate through your bones, and you lose track of time. And I'm telling you guys this story because this was like 88. So 2 years ago, this woman contacts me and says, I want you to play at my party. I have a party at LeBain. I want you to play. And so I'm following her on social media, and I see she posts this flyer. And it's a Keith Haring handwritten, hand-drawn flyer for her party Baseline. And I was like, holy crap. This is Christina, right? Christina Visca from Sound Factory. She before Sound Factory, she and Junior had the Baseline party. and they outgrew it. It was just that's how they moved to having the Sound Factory. But I was like, I had to explain to her, like, you're the reason why I'm doing this right now. Like, I went to that party, and that's when I decided that's what I want to do. Like, that was it for me. And so it was amazing. Like, she reached out to me and said, "Oh, I want you to play my party." I think it was her birthday or something. And it was just amazing. I was like, the connection was, I was like, do you understand? Like, this is a big deal to me that I'm playing your party after what I experienced in '88. So it was pretty cool.
That's a great story.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah.
Magical moments. I feel like those are like magical moments, and that it really like solidifies why we do the things that we do, right? So
Yeah.
it's good.
Well, I've got some questions. True, when did you start? Well, first of all, let me share this with you, True. So when I sent out the flyer and somebody saw DJ Dancer, somebody messaged me and said, "True's a dancer? Since when?" And I'm like, "Since always. You don't know. We know." I'm like, "True is a great dancer." And he might, and what my reply was, he might not have been getting paid to dance, but he could dance on stage with the best of them. Like, and people didn't know, some people don't know that about you, which I thought was really interesting. Like, yeah, he's an amazing dancer. So that's why I chose to put down dancer. But my question for you is, when did you start DJing, and what was the first party that you DJ'd at?
Oh boy, this party I DJ'd at. Well, thank you for the compliment. I'm definitely a dancer, and the first time I went to a club was I was dancing with my little kid friends on the corner, and we ran into a famous rapper that invited us to Disco Fever, and Flash was DJ at Disco Fever at the time. And if y'all don't know Disco Fever, that's kind of one of the cornerstones of hip hop. It's the club in the South Bronx that Beat Street was recorded in, as well as other things. But fast forward, I went from hip hop, started recording records a lot, and I love jams. So the element of the jam started dissipating when these artists started coming up and doing their record rather than just rocking the mic all night over beats. And that's what I was into. And I saw a similarity in reggae dancehall with Sound Clash. So I spent a lot of time, in the hip hop days, I spent a lot of time in Latin Quarters and Union Square and, and the Bronx clubs. And then the reggae was Reggae Lounge, Island Club. I don't know if y'all know Island Club. It later became Canal Room and all of that.
I remember.
And that's where I first met, kind of kept you on my radar, because when Ron Trent started DJing there, Ron Trent gave me my first real big gig. So
I remember those parties.
I was doing radio at the time. I was doing Deeper Than Disco. I had this radio show where I had a lot of cats come up to the radio show, but nobody was really inviting me to play. And then Ron Trent was leaving town, and he was doing a weekly party with Giant Step. And every week, from beginning to end of that party, I was there, and Red and Chris was there. Almost every single party. Am I not right?
You're right. Those were great parties. I love Giant Step parties.
And you probably don't even remember me from that days because I look very different. I had blonde, short hair, and I was very colorful. But yeah, he went out of town and he asked me to play, and that was my first really big gig in the house. But I was doing parties. I used to do all these weird parties in abandoned schools on the Lower East Side. Those became kind of famous. The one of these abandoned schools I found. But yeah. So peace out. Thanks to Ron Trent. Also, Richard Vasquez was a big part of my history, because when the loft shut down, Richard took over the the last location of the loft and turned it into Choice. And I just stayed. Like, y'all coming inside my house. Like, I claimed the loft when Richard got there, and he just brought me to his house, and the rest is history. He had this building full of records that he allowed me to just go through. And he was shrewd though. He would go through to see what appealed to me, because I knew classics that he didn't know from Uptown and whatnot. And then he would go into the Choice and play them. Oh yeah.
All right. Cynthia, you have a question?
Actually, at this time, I would like to give you gentlemen both an opportunity to just tell the folks that are watching us if there's something that you have that's going on that you want people to know about, or, you know, before we get cut off on IG, I'd love for you to share if there's something that you'd like to share with the people.
Set it up, Carlos.
Sure. So those of you who don't know me, I have a label called Ocha Records. You can find us on ocha.bandcamp.com. If you want to check out the music, or wherever. The music's everywhere. I am doing next event on, I do a party called Bembe that we've been doing for over 12 years. Of course, now COVID times, it's an online party. We had our 12-year anniversary a couple months ago.
Which is awesome.
Which I'm super proud of, because we had 35 DJs, and most of you, now that we're accustomed to seeing these events, you notice that most of the sets are pre-recorded when you have a lot of DJs at these like little virtual festivals. I had 35 DJs, I think 31 of them were live. We had live DJs, and that was so much work over 2 days, but it turned out to be a beautiful event. But we continue to do the events monthly. We've been doing this offshoot called The Drums Call Us. And the first one I think we had was Spinna versus Jihad Muhammad. They played back to back, which was really cool. And then we had Rich Medina versus DJ Kemet. So they each play for 20 minutes, go back and forth and make jokes, and it's a lot of fun. And then the next one we had was Bodhisattva versus myself, which was a lot of fun. Again, this is all live, so it was like 3 a.m. for him in Portugal. The next one that's coming up is Mr. V versus Hector Romero, which should be amazing. Two terrific DJs. And then after that, we're gonna have Oshunlade versus At Jazz. And then, so those are coming up. But the next one is next Friday. Next Friday on October 9th. On my Twitch channel, so it's twitch.tv/CasaMena. Other than that, that's it, man. Just working on music. My show, I do a show called Ocha Talk, just about spiritual practice and self-care and just whatever different topics. It happens on Instagram Fridays at 5 o'clock on my Instagram page, Ocha Talk. Season number 2 starts this Friday.
All right. I like it. Yeah, that sounds like some real good programming, and I'm definitely gonna be joining for a few of those. What about you, True? What you got?
Yeah, I already plugged Trinity Black. You know what it is. You're gonna hear a lot about it. It's gonna be press out there, and yeah, hopefully, you know, you see some changes in the scene where you get a lot more representation and, you know, a lot more exposure to, I feel, sounds that don't get the exposure it deserves. And besides that, I need to plug my sister's Black Art Outlet. She's doing this thing because on Zoom, we noticed that walls are a little bit plain. It's hard to get around to painting, but she's doing this thing to bring attention to Black artists and renowned Black artists. Because, you know, there's also this void of, there's a generation that don't know a whole heap of like Black artists that did incredible work that's also underrepresented in the scene, in the art scene. So that's blackartoutlet.com is coming soon. Trinity-black.com. Look that up now. Well, after we're done.
After.
I want to add one thing. we've been making a conscious effort to include women in all our events. Like that's something I decided a few months ago to always have a female DJ at our events. So I want to put that out there.
Yeah.
I want to put that out there because I don't know everybody. So if anybody has suggestions of people they think we should put on, please send them my way. Like I reached out to Remarkable, who's played a couple of events for us, and asked her about some female DJs. And she connected me with this amazing DJ named Andy, who played an opening set that was incredible from South Africa. It was just amazing. So I'm looking for more like fresh talent like that.
I'm gonna send you a list tomorrow,
Do it, please, please.
I'll send you a list. We definitely do need more female energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
Good way to put it.
In terms of like, you know, I think that like as a woman, right, I'm happy with my position. I don't want to be a DJ, no interest. That's for someone else. But I know that my energy as a female has helped in party situations a lot, you know? And it's not, you know, it's not just like in ways that people might think, you know? Like I remember that like one time that there was like, oh, there's a fight gonna break out or some shit. And I got my Puerto Rican self right up in between all these big grown men. And I was like, hey, brothers. And it just, they looked at me and they were like, all right, let's calm down. You know, and no man could have done that, right? I don't believe that a man could have at that moment.
I don't either.
You know, so I think it's important, you know, just in many ways, female energy.
Definitely.
Important to.
Women are running things right now. They're running hip hop at least. They're running lots of things.
You need to let women run things.
What's that?
In life.
Yeah.
No
absolutely.
Politics.
You know, people always think women get all emotional and all this stuff, but women can make very logical decisions and work with people that we don't care for and do it well and get things done. And, you know, it's very interesting.
Can I give a shout out? You know, well, a rest in peace to Voodoo Ray, because I was thinking of the choice, and that's when I met Voodoo Ray. And Voodoo Ray was one of those cats. No matter how big he got, he always like respected. Like, even though I was his age, I was considered old school because I used to hang out with cats that were like 10 years older than me, and he always gave me that respect as a dancer, and he always like introduced me as a dope ass dancer. So Voodoo Ray, man.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this about Ray, and I know I'm not special because this is how he was. But he would call me and big me up and say, yo, you're great. I love you. I love what you're doing. That's one. And I know he does that for everybody. He was about bigging up everybody and uplifting folks and making them feel good about themselves. But that dude would keep me on the phone for like 2-3 hours. And I know he did that with everybody. Like I was like, when he would call, I didn't even think about it. You know, now I think back, I'm like, oh yeah, when I answer the phone, I'm gonna be on the phone with him for 2 to 3 hours. I didn't think that when I would answer it. It was like, oh, this is gonna be a quick call. And then 3 hours later, we're still talking and strategizing. And hey, I need you to do this event. Can we do that? Can we do this? I miss him tremendously. But right before you mentioned Ray, True, I was just thinking about Marjorie. Because there's one time I was playing at Libation, I was really mad. And I was steaming mad about a personal situation, and I knew that that person was going to be at the spot at Libation, and of course the person was there, and whatever. I was like, I'm going to play, but I brought that energy to what I was doing on the decks, and I played like very aggressive, techie set. Like I might have played like one soulful song, maybe, just to like not clear the dance floor. I just played like incredibly aggressive music, and I finished my set and I was like, God, that was freaking horrible. What a horrible set. I just sucked. And I walked by Marjorie and she grabbed me and she's like, yo, Carlos, that was so necessary. Thank you. I was like, what? And you know, if you know me, one of the reasons I love playing funk box is because I only play for dancers. Like that's the only purpose. I don't play for DJs. I don't play for recognition. I play for dancers. I want to see, like, if people are dancing, I'm happy. Like dancers, not just anybody.
Yes.
And so to have her say to me, like, yo, your set was necessary, that just like made everything go away. It made my night, it made my week, it made my month. To like have the one person that I want positive feedback from give me that feedback. That was so beautiful. I miss Marjorie.
I think what's dope about that too is that it was like an unexpected response, right? To something that you were doing. And I have a question with that regard, like, has there, you know, what was an experience that you've had, like you just told us one may be true, was there ever an experience where you had like that unexpected response off of a record or, you know, something that you played?
Yeah, I mean, I believe in magic. I know everybody knows magic is real, right? So one of the magical things that I feel like I've been able to access in life is being in the zone. I love hitting the zone. And for those of you who don't know what the zone is, it's that thing where you see the basketball player keep shooting from every which angle, and no matter what he does, it goes in. It's not even him anymore. It's kind of like an out of body experience. And when I can reach that, like when I did my best mixes at Alma, when I was doing that crazy samba over house, I go back home and try to do it again, and I couldn't do it. Because in that moment, I was just caught up completely, you know, and I think, Lord, that happened so many. I remember the first time Louis Vega came to Alma with Anane. And I remember they had just got there. Nobody was even there yet. It was early in the night. They got there super early. We reserved like a little space for them. And I was like, I need to just start now. Because they've never really heard me play. I wanted to like really just jump straight in, even though nobody was there. And like within 15 minutes, I saw Anane just dancing on the dance floor by herself. She just got caught up in this mix I was doing. And yeah, just that alone, because I was such a big fan of theirs, to see them at the party. And there was so many instances of that. I can't front, but that was an early one. And it definitely, it was memorable to this day.
That's dope. One of my favorite moments, unexpected moments, was at Sapphire Lounge. That's a weird spot, but it was me and Sabine when Sabine was doing the Bembe party with me. We had a Bembe party there, which was ridiculous because it was so packed. It's such a little spot, and I was always, you know, hype on playing new unreleased stuff, right? It's like, oh, I got something you don't got, I'm gonna play it. And I dropped, this was like the day that Oshunlade produced Mirror Dance. Like he had made the record, he sends me the stuff and he's like, here, I just finished this today. And I showed up at the party and I dropped that. And the reaction was so insane. I mean, now we're like, you know, that song is like, we've heard it a million times. But that night I played it and the reaction was insane. I proceeded to play that song 5 times. I literally played it 5 times and people just lost by the 5th time, people were losing their minds. Like they were just like, just play this all night. Play this song again. No, I was just play it was just crazy. The reaction was crazy. And you know, I'm a big fan of like beating people over the heads with a song 2 or 3 times. I'll do that. You know, if it's something new that I'm trying to break, well, you know, people don't break records anymore, but when we used to break records, but I dropped that song 5 times and that was like, that was insane. Because I kept waiting for people who were like, oh, you gonna play that again? But I was getting the exact opposite reaction every time I played it. They were just like, ah!
You ever dropped the original?
They never heard it before. So it was like, what?
You ever played the original or not?
What original? I don't know the original.
Oh, okay. Brasileiro, pô.
So now I want to hear the original.
Yeah, I want to hear. I don't know anything about any original.
Right.
I want to
I
hear
just-
the original, True. Like, hip us to it,
Yeah,
shit.
put us on.
Shit.
Well, I have a question for you, Carlos,
Yes.
because I know that you've worked with some big name people. Could you tell us a couple?
I don't know about big name people. I
Well,
mean,
I'm the one saying it. You don't have to say it, so I will.
I forgot how I connected with Speech, but I might have reached out to him or something. I don't know what happened, but I wound up going on tour with him and Lettucey. Lettucey's from the Bay. I know her from the Bay before when she was with a band called Aniba Day. And so Lettucey, myself, and Arrested Development, we were on tour and just hit it off with him. And God, it was amazing seeing him perform every night and seeing Lettucey, who's, as you guys know, is just incredible and so powerful. And back then she was like mad raw, and it was just amazing to see. And I used to see her in the Bay all the time anyway, but it was fun seeing her across the country doing her thing and getting reactions. So, you know, I wound up coming to Atlanta, hung out with Speech in the studio. We recorded a couple things, and I produced something for one of his albums. He did something for a record of mine. We're just friends now.
Well, you work with some people that have been nominated for Grammys and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've produced for a lot of people, like different stuff. Back in the day, I was doing mostly hip hop. So I produce a lot of stuff.
All right.
What you getting at?
Some dream people that you could work with, either dead or alive? I like this question for folks, either of you. Is there a dream person that, you know?
Dream person?
Yeah.
Not really. It depends on the mood and the vibe. Like if I'm working on something and I have a vibe, I'll be like, God, I wish I could get Sade to sing on this, you know, like, but it's not like, oh, I gotta work with Sade, or that doesn't calculate. If I want to work with someone, I'll wind up working with them. I'll figure out a way, like I'll contact them, reach out, I'll produce the right song that I know they're gonna love. Like I'll make it happen if I want to work with someone, but I'm not sitting around like, oh, I want to work with this person.
I like that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? Like, I live by that perspective. So I love that perspective, actually. But what about you, True?
Oh man, there's so many people I love to work with. Let me see. Off the top of my head, I would love to work with Katie Tatum.
Katie,
Now, I'm a novice in the producing area, and I just started producing tracks with Soulcraft. Shouts out to Soulcraft. But Katie Tatum, yes,
Okay.
that is one of my heroes, and man, just everything he does blows my mind. But there's many people like that, but for some reason his name came up first. So Katie Tatum.
Yeah.
You don't know who that is? Look him up. K-A-I.
got a whole list of things to look up from you.
There's a whole lot of looking up from True. I like it.
And that's, can I say, that's what I love most as a DJ. My whole prerogative, and definitely one of my goals as a DJ, was always to go into a situation, whether it's hip hop, reggae, house, and just totally blow that dance floor's mind with tracks they never heard before,
Right.
which is really hard to do, especially if you're covering those different genres. And that's, I love doing that. I love putting heads on to stuff that they never heard before, but they've been dying to hear. They just didn't know. They've been dying to hear it. But when they hear it, they know they've been dying to hear it.
Right.
Right.
True. Do you still have a website?
I do. It's truenewyork.net.
You're True.
NewYork.net.
Yes. True 2020. I know people are like, yo, you're not on the ballot. What happened? You've been talking about this.
Ah!
You've been pumping this since this time last year. How come you're not on the ballot? The whole idea, True 2020, change everything. Even though a lot has changed in society, we haven't changed anything, man. We need to change things up on so many levels. And the way you vote for me is it doesn't matter who you vote for on election. Well, it actually does matter, but we're not going to get into that.
Hey, True, I wanted to show you something.
Voting for true is being true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Find your true self this year and be
Say
true.
word. Say word. I wanted to show you something. That's why I walked away from the camera. I had to go find it. I got this last week.
There you go.
This is his new album. I just got it last week. It's so dope.
All right, so that's one less person that has to look him up.
Well, you know Carlos knows.
Well, I want to take this opportunity to say happy belated birthday to you, Carlos.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday!
Woo, 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 woo. Birthdays, 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 birthdays.
Yeah.
Getting old, man.
Yeah, well, you're not alone.
His relative.
Man,
Exactly.
years just kept piling up.
Time ain't
Crazy.
even linear, man. I time travel all the time. That's how come I remember back old school so well.
Can
go
I ask-
back there.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Oh,
Sure.
Okay, so this is for all of you individually. You can answer, but I want to know what your favorite club has been over the years, where you've had the best experiences.
well, for me, that's an easy answer. Is Shelter, for many, many reasons. But in the different locations, the DJ, the music, the feeling, the whole everything. I come right after Garage and after Loft and Garage, after Garage closed when all the people were all sad and I come and I'm like, what's everybody sad about? And they're like, our club closed. I don't know anything about it, so I can't miss what I never had. So I'm a Shelter baby. And for me, it's Shelter.
Right on.
Because I grew up there.
What about you, Sin?
That's a tough one for me, right? Because there's so many things that I think qualifies to make it like the memorable experience kind of night for me, right?
But what was your favorite place to go to that you knew that you were going to be happy?
I'm gonna say, as an answer to that question, the original Sound Factory. And the reason why I want to say that, like the original Sound Factory that was down between 10th and 11th Avenue on, what was that, 26th Street or 27th Street, something like that over there. And the reason why I say that is because when I went to that club, I was a teenager, I was young, I was comfortable enough to go to that club by myself and know that I could come home with a gang of folks and be all right. I was also comfortable enough in that club to lay down and go to sleep and wake up like, that's my jam, and jump on the dance floor. And it's a very big part, that feeling that I got in that club is a very big part of why this has progressed in my life, I think.
Word. About you, True?
Mine is hands down the Loft, I guess. Can I tell a quick David Mancuso story?
Do it.
Okay. David Mancuso, back in the days, he used to give out his real number to like reserve for the party. So I would just, after 3rd Street closed down, I just kept calling him. I would just randomly call him. I wasn't even sure if he knew who I was. And I'd just call him up. I'd be like, yo, this is True. Just call and see how you doing. And I was doing this for years. And he started doing the parties again. And, you know, it was a different vibe. And I wasn't going to the parties. And also, I was really broke. And the parties were like $50 at that point or something like that. It was like, you know, 2000s at this point. And he calls me up and he's like, True. And again, this is the first time he's called me. So I didn't even know I was on his radar. I haven't been to the party in like 5 years. He calls me up and he goes, "True, how come you haven't been at the parties?" I was like, "Oh, hey." I was like, "Well, and I told him like my reasoning and that, I'm kind of tight on cash. And he's like, "Let me take you to lunch." I'm like, "Okay." So we go to lunch and I have this whole like lunch that David treats me to at his favorite like Italian spot. And the whole time, because I was being selfish, I thought he was calling me to get together because at the time nobody got together with me unless it was business. So I was thinking he's gonna ask me to play the party or something like that. We hung out for a couple hours, ate, talked about everything except parties. And like I was disappointed that he didn't ask me to play. So here I am having this incredible like experience with David Mancuso, who calls me out of nowhere,
Hang
and
out.
I'm picking his brain about music, about audio, about everything. And I don't even realize how privileged I am to have this time. I'm pissed off because I'm like, yo, you're not even gonna ask me to play? What was this all about? I don't even get why I'm here.
That's funny.
And it wasn't until years later that I realized, man, I was really lucky to have that, experience.
Right.
But
funny.
it was just on some checking up on me and seeing how I'm doing, and side note, which nobody has ever done for me. Nobody's ever come out of left field and said, I'm just going to check up on this dude because I haven't seen him in a while. So that's a testimony to David Mancuso, how aware he was when I didn't even think I was on his radar at all. And that's what's up, He was a deep dude.
Nice.
That's beautiful.
I'm gonna tell you guys about my favorite spot.
Go.
So I have a couple of spots. In Miami, it used to be the Vagabond. I had a residency there, and it was just a dope vibe and dope sound. Like for me, the sound has to be right. That's a big part of the whole mix. But from a DJ perspective, like being the most comfortable and happy walking into a venue is number one, far and beyond output. Like every time I walked in there, I was treated like a king. Like, oh, Carlos is here. You treated like with a lot of respect, which DJs don't often get in different places. But the sound was proper. They had every possible thing you could ever want. Oh, I want to play on this mixer today. I want to play on that other mixer today. They take care of everything for you. Here's my requirements of what I want to drink. They would, something bizarre, they would go find it. There's a bathroom in the DJ booth. Like just everything as far as like the environment for a DJ was perfect. Like there's nothing that I would have in my head that was like, this sucks or this isn't working or the owner's a bum. Like none of that. And when you walk in, they hand you a check before you play, right? It's like all those things combined is like, wow, this is the perfect place to play. Really, it really is. They love the music. It's not like an afterthought. Like they're not about the bar. They're about putting on a good event and good music. And remember when I first walked in there, when they first opened, I was naive. I'm nobody, not a big promoter, nothing. I walked there and say, hey, I want to do a party here. And the owner said to me, well, here's the challenge. The music that you play doesn't bring people to the bar. And we have to like make money at the bar. You see our overhead and blah, blah, blah. So I'm not saying that we won't have you here play, but we have to figure out where to fit you in and how to make it. Like he was respectful and was honest about, their situations. Like I can't have you play here and Ian Friday play here and, so-and-so play here because you guys don't bring people that drink. It's a fact.
Right.
And he was honest about it, but eventually he gave me a residency and had my party there once a month and sometimes twice a month. And it was a beautiful thing. So I missed that. And then the last place I'll mention, which is also gone, is Little Temple Bar in LA. I don't know if you guys have ever been there. But it was a beautiful lounge where we used to do the Bembe party in LA, and they had different rooms. And it was an incredible vibe, just like very cool vibes, very Mediterranean, cool, chill vibes, and always packed and with people that love music, not like just, you know, the looky-loos or people that want to look cute in the club. It was real. So I miss that place.
The looky food.
And did you ever ask them at Output for something bizarre to drink?
Not bizarre, but like I would ask for things that they didn't carry, so they would go, you know, to the liquor store and get it. Not things crazy exotic, just things that they didn't have in stock.
Okay.
Like Sailor Jerry rum. Like most people carry that now, but back then they weren't carrying that, so they would go get it for me.
I'm curious, Drew, if there's a place that you have on, because I like when you were saying that, Carlos, I immediately thought of like, come on everybody, right? Which I call come on everybody, but it's actually come on everybody, right? But that place is one of those places that I had that feeling about, like, it's a pleasure to work there. They take care of us, you know, we rock with them, they rock with us, like, you know, and like 3 months into us doing a party there, they put down fresh new wood floors. Like, it was like they cared about the things that we cared about, right? And that's rare to find in venues. True, is there a place that you have in your mind that has that kind of like special, like, yo, I rock with these people?
Ooh, that's hard. There's a lot of places I liked and stuff, but I had rough endings with a lot of places too.
Yeah,
A lot
same
of
here.
greed on the scene, a lot of greed.
It happens. It does
It happens, yeah.
Yeah.
It does happen because, you know, and just like Carlos said, our crowd isn't necessarily the ones that's going to go in there and buy 30 bottles. And, you know,
I grew up on the underground, and I like the underground, and you know, I've always had a weird relationship with clubs. I don't get along with clubs too
He's
much.
not lying.
You know, I'm spoiled. I grew up going to, you know, the Law and the Garage, and these are private parties. They're not, you know, I guess the Garage was more of a club, but it was still private. You know, I go to parties now that are private, and they have their problems, but you know, that's where I'd rather be, in someone's, you know, extended living room or basement with a serious sound system rather than a club. I was gonna start parties this year at one of those spaces. I finally found one of my own that I was excited about, and then we see what happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
Man planned and God laughed, as they say.
So I have a guest in my chat who asks, where would you say is a good place to get a good record player and to look for records to start a collection?
Record player. Did they say record
They
player?
said record player.
Nice. That's some old school talk right there.
Yeah, I don't know where to buy a record player. I mean, everything's online now.
Yeah.
I guess to start a collection, if you know what you're looking for, I would go to Discogs. Like, that's where I've been buying records lately. Shout out to Range Music. Range Music is I don't know, pop-up record store. They're online also. You could go to Range Music and they curate really well what they sell on their store. I've been spoiled a little bit because they've been delivering the records to my house. Not shipping them, like personally bringing the records to my house, which is kind of cool.
Oh, your records, sir.
Not quite like that, but I would say, you know, if you know what you're looking for, I would go to Discogs, because then you can see the different prices and different quality that's available of things that you might want to add to your collection. If you don't know, then, you know, you'd have to seek out some record stores. Public Records has a nice curated collection. It's small, but they've got some nice records there that, you know, people would want to add to the collection if they're into dance music. In their little cafe, they have records there. And I think they have them online on Discogs too. Most record stores have a Discogs. I'll add that. So if there's a record store you're thinking about, they probably have a Discogs that you can get onto. And like Human Heads, for example, has good finds in different genres. They're on Discogs also, and you can pick up stuff there.
Nice. All right. Good info. for the novice collector. What was the first record that you purchased with your own money?
Oh, that's easy. I think, I don't know, a million people must have bought the same record. It was Rapper's Delight. I picked that
Okay.
up. Yeah, when that came out, I was like, I had to have it. Kept hearing it on the radio. First thing I bought.
I don't know the exact record. It must have been some goofy kids record because I was just one of those weird kids. I've been fascinated with records from probably before I can talk right. You know, I have pictures of being a toddler with that record in my hand. There was records in the house. Everybody had records in the house at that time,
Yeah.
the 70s. I'd like to believe.
Nice.
But I distinctly remember buying Funkadelic,
Nice.
One Nation Under the Groove. And I wasn't up on Funkadelic at all. I had to be like 8, 9 years old. And we were in a 5 and dime. And Funkadelic had like the comic book thing going on where they had a whole Adventures of Sir Nose. And I'm checking out this record like, yo, and there's titties drawn. So I was like, oh, don't let my mama see this.
Yes.
So I snuck it up to the counter and I asked the dude, this is how my memory is really weird because I can still see the dude in my head. And I asked him, is this any good? And I remember his reaction, how much he laughed, how tickled he was that this little kid was asking him, is Funkadelic good? And he just looked back at me, he said, oh yeah.
That's dope.
Man, I took that record home and I played it 1,000 times over. Blew my mind. Introduction to George Clinton, One Nation Under the Groove.
I have a Funkadelic story. I was on tour in Japan with the P-Funk All-Stars many years ago. And we were on a bus, like with the band, freestyling, having fun. It was just a blast. But this one spot we went to after the gig, if you've ever been to Japan, they have these little bars. They're like lounges, but they're very small, but they're outfitted with like $1 million worth of equipment. So it's like your living room with the best sound system ever. And then on the wall is every Blue Note jazz record, every Funkadelic record, every Stevie Wonder record, like original pressings. Like, it's just crazy. A small little tiny spot with little chairs and tables, and you sit there and you're drinking, and out comes this woman, starts serving little food things. Like, I don't know who was paying for all this, but they were taking care of us. And one of the guys from Parliament went in the DJ booth and started playing all the Funkadelic records, like all the B-side joints, all the deep undercover cuts. It was so much fun. But you mentioned that, just reminded me of that. I was like, and that's, wow. I didn't put that in my list of the most amazing clubs that I've been to because I was only there once. I couldn't tell you the name of it. It was just somebody's private $1 million lounge. Like, it's like the ultimate hangout spot, basically. But that was incredible.
Kids hang out.
Yeah,
I love
that's pretty amazing.
Well, if you have not seen it, see Tear the Roof Off, which is the untold story of Parliament Funkadelic, and I have not seen it yet, I admit, but I'm told it's excellent and it's on my list, which is why I was able to tell you the name immediately because it's right here on my list. Tear the Roof Off.
All right.
Well,
do you gentlemen have a question that you'd like to ask each other? Is there something you want to know that since you know each other, or did you like?
Yeah, I got a question for
Carlos. On the flyer, were you like, I wonder?
And my question for Carlos is: would you say that's one of your most magical experiences? Like, do you have what's the magical experiences you've had? Because that sounds pretty magical.
Yeah, no, that was magical. I mean, I've had a blessed life. I've done some pretty cool things and been to some cool places. I think one of the most magical, in terms of magic, experiences was in California in a town called Mountain View. There's a place called the Shoreline Amphitheater. It's one of those outdoor venues where they have seats, but then they have the the seating behind the seats where people lay out on their blankets and can have picnics and all that good stuff. And they have, all the big concerts come there. And I was, this was in the early days of Lollapalooza when it was blowing up. And I played, I had a group called 10 Bass T, which is a hip hop group. It was really popular in the Bay Area. And we started doing tour and we got booked for Lollapalooza. So we were backstage and I sat on so this place was packed, like 30, 40,000 people backstage, hundreds of people, all the different artists, just everybody from Cypress Hill to, what you call it? What's that group called? The group Lauryn Hill was in. The Fugees, just, Public Enemy, all these groups were there and we were all back there. And it was an area away from the backstage, just kind of to the side. And there was a bench and I was just sitting on the bench by myself, just chilling, taking it all in. I had performed, it was one of the opening acts, whatever. I'm chilling and over comes Lauryn Hill and she sat down next to me. She could have sat anywhere. She literally sat right next to me and didn't say a word. And I looked at her and she looked at me and I said, "You good?" She's like, "Yep." And we just sat there quietly, just chilling. And I for half a second, maybe I was like, "Oh my God." And then I just relaxed and we just chill for 10 minutes. That to me was magic. I knew
magic is real.
That was magic.
Yeah.
I knew she was attracted to my energy and I was attracted to hers and it was a moment. It was cool.
Magical moment.
Yeah, I mean, magic can happen in silence. It doesn't have to happen all.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's dope.
Should I answer the same one?
Carlos, you
Yeah,
got
please.
Absolutely. I want to know yours.
No, tell me that, please. I want to hear that.
Can you answer the same one? Go.
Yes, please.
Man, I think I'd have to name something that's unrelated to me performing, which is weird. I've had so many special moments in the club. And one night, one of my best friends passed away in 2007. Carlucci Bensavega, Elf, MPC. He was an old school writer. Oh, here he is right here, coincidentally.
Peace.
Okay.
And when he passed away, his lady had tickets to go see Sharon Jones at the Apollo Theater. Now, the first time, I'm one of those people that I like to believe I will things to happen. And when I saw Sharon Jones, first time I ever seen her, she was in one of her videos and she was just dancing her ass off. I mean, sweat dripping, just dancing. And when I see people dancing hard like that, my first reaction is I want to dance with that person. And the first time I saw Sharon Jones, I was like, I gotta dance with her. So when she called me up and said she had this ticket to go see Sharon Jones, my reaction to her was, I'm gonna dance with her. And her reaction was, oh, you might have a real chance to, because I know some of the Dap Kings, the horn players, and we'll probably go to the after party. So I'm excited as hell. I'm like, wow. We get to the Apollo. She plays one of my favorite songs, and I start dancing in the aisle. She pulls me up on stage.
Nice.
Now I'm dancing with Sharon Jones on the stage of the Apollo.
That's dope.
And she kept me up there for a while. I get back down. Everybody's coming up to me after the concert saying that I was a plant. Saying, come on, you're part of the show, right? You're a plant. And I'm like, nah, swear to God. So we go to the after party, and some of the people get to the after party and they're like, we knew you knew her. But the whole point is, I hung out with her all night, smoking blunts on a stoop, going in and out of this club, dancing with her and smoking blunts on a stoop all night. Rest in peace, Sharon Jones. That has to be one of the most special moments, I think, of my life, because she was so special. And then just to be able to kick it on that personal level, just blazing all night, talking about music. She was just picking my brain about music. And me, same thing about her. By the way, Dat Kings, her band is what was responsible for, thought I was gonna go to rehab. And I said, no, no. The rehab girl that didn't go to rehab. What's her name?
Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse. So those that don't know, that was the Dat Kings that made Amy Winehouse famous. Right here from Brooklyn, Sharon Joe's band. Shouts out.
So,
Well, thank you for that tidbit, True.
so, and I think on that note, we're probably gonna end this, huh? I know that
I think so.
it's almost that time.
Yes, it is. And
Thank
Carlos,
you, gentlemen.
those that don't know, Carlos gave us a time.
No,
So
no, it's all good.
But it's a reasonable time,
it's a
yo.
wonderful time.
It's a perfect
It's
time.
bedtime.
It's bedtime.
Well, it's been really an honor.
Bedtime.
I have some shout outs I got to get out.
Shout out. Okay.
So first of all, I'm gonna start with you guys. Thank you for having us. Red and Sin, thank you so much.
Thanks.
I want to thank a few people that like put me on when I came to New York, because I was like not involved in the scene, and like people put me on. So Ian Friday. I want to thank Louis. Louis supported me big time, and put me on several of his events here and the WMC, and he's done parties for me. So thanks, Louis. I want to thank Tony Touch for putting me on, for always like having the door open for me whenever I want to play. I want to thank True. I want to thank, see, I shouldn't have gone down this path because I'm gonna leave people out. But all the people in New York,
I thank everybody now, man.
that looked out, all the people that looked out for me.
And just when you thought it was over, we got 30 more minutes of thank yous.
Everybody that throws parties and thought of having me play. So yeah, Justin, DJ Aquabeat, everybody. Shout out to my crew, to the folks at the label. Shout out to CoFlow and Emily for holding down things with the label. Thank you to my wife, Desiree, for holding down the kids while I do this tonight.
Thank you, Desiree.
And yeah, thanks to everybody for supporting me and supporting the music. Lots more to come.
Okay.
I got some shouts.
Do it.
I'll keep it short though. But that's a good idea. Thank the people that put you on. And let's go back. Let's go back. Shouts out to Rich Vasquez. Always held me down from day one. Nate T, Greg Nice. Ron Trent for hooking me up with that gig. Louis Vega always supported me. Todd Terry always. Yeah. Everybody that came to the radio station in the middle of the night back in the days at 2 a.m. just to rock with Harlem. And I'm just honored to be here, man. To be rocking with, someone like Carlos Mena, his history, his catalog. I'm just a dancer and I'm a music lover. Everything I've done is just.
We're just humans, bro. We're just humans. We're just humans.
But you're magical humans. Magical feel.
Shout out to the dancers, for real. Like, I know Brian's on here. Shout out to Brian, Lisa, just everybody who comes out and dances and supports the parties. It's nothing without the dancers, for real.
Love my dancers. Wouldn't be anything without y'all.
And on that note,
we're going to say good night.
Thank you
so much. This has been Bedtime Stories. I am Sin Rose, and that
I am Redness, and we will be back next Tuesday, same time, same place, same bat channels, as they say. And Carlos and True, thank you guys so much. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
And yeah.
Yes. All right.
So,
bye, guys.
Good night, guys. Good night, people.
Boa noite.
Good night. I could try to sing the theme song, but Red has that one.
Buenas noches, buenas noches, hasta mañana, hasta mañana.
See, somebody else sang that last week.
See, yes, that came up last week.
Really?
I
Yes.
love that song. Yes. Que buenas noches, hasta mañana, hasta mañana.
No, it was the week before because it was Hector.
Oh, Hector, right. The week
was
before
Hector.
last. Hector Romero was singing that song. It's good.
Y'all remember that? Y'all don't remember that.
Hell yeah, I remember that. That was the sign that it was like, all right, enough is enough now. No more playing. Get your ass in the bed. So
You guys
You
hold on a
Puerto
minute.
Rican, you
Good
definitely
night, everybody.
Bye.